It feels so weird to be doing a monthly wrap up after so long of doing them weekly, but hey, here it is. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing my monthly wrap up for the month of November. Now, like I said in the intro, I was doing weekly wrap ups for quite a while, but I've gotten to the point where I'm going to be focusing on some longer books, and so I might not have as many updates during the week, and also just have a ton of videos that are going to be coming out in the next couple of months, and so wanted to use that slot for other videos instead of wrap ups. So we're moving back to monthly, and this is the first one. Now, I did do 2 weekly updates for the first 2 weeks of November, so I'm going to be a little bit quicker with talking about those books that I read that already have updates. I will link both of those updates too, so that if you want to hear more on those specific things, you can check there. But let's jump in. So first up, and this feels like so long ago, but we had Bands of Mourning, which is Mistborn Era 2 number 3. And this was a reread that I was doing audio, and I did end up enjoying that more as well. And so, yeah, I talked about that one before, and I did do a video also for Bands of Mourning, kind of talking through getting ready for Lost Metal, which, spoilers, coming up in this stack of books as well. But had a really good time with the reread, and we'll talk about Lost Metal here in a minute. I then read The Seventh Cadence by Jim Wilborn. That's another one I'd been meaning to get to for a long time, and I have some like that. And that one I was a little bit more mixed on. There were a lot of things I liked, a lot of ideas I liked, but didn't always execute in a way that worked for me, but still interested in seeing where that's going to go. I do have a review for that one as well, which I will link down below. And then I did a couple on audio. It was the Bobiverse books 3 and 4, All These Worlds, and Heaven's River. And those ones I didn't do reviews for, but I did talk about in the weekly update videos. And still been having a good time with it. Heaven's River I didn't like quite as much as the ones before. But it's a series I've been enjoying. I really like the narration. They're just interesting. It's made me think too that I think I do actually like hard sci-fi, which I've not done a ton of, so something I'll have to explore more specifically because of those, but it should be an interesting time. Then we had Origins of the Wheel of Time, and this one actually the review is going to be coming out actually on Wednesday after this gets released. I'll be talking a little bit more about it. But I was pretty disappointed with this overall, and so in that video though I break down kind of more about what this is, what's in here, what the positives are, if I think it's worth it, that kind of thing. Because this, I kind of expected it, but I got my hopes up, and I'm like, yeah, I should have known better. But so watch out for that. That one is coming Wednesday to talk more about that. So that is there as well. We did have, and this is featured in quite a lot of my weekly updates over the last month or so, is the Voidwalker collection by Derek Bailey. Now, I just recently had a review for this whole thing come out, and this was such a nice surprise. It's very different from my normal kind of thing, but it is just kind of this genre-bending tale, and we have a person who's dealing with issues in their normal life, and then they start dreaming themselves into this kind of mysterious manner, and we have like mystery thriller elements, we have self-discovery elements, and there's a lot in here. Really, really well written, really enjoyable, so definitely check that. I'll link to the review for this one as well if you want to know more about that. So I think that's everything that I covered in the specific weekly update video, so I'll spend a little bit more time on these ones that I finished after that point, going from there. First being The Lost Metal. See, I told you it was coming. So this is Era 2, Book 4, and I love this one. I've seen a lot of people who were on the other side. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people didn't. And I think I get why some people didn't. This is extremely Cosmere heavy, which I generally expected. And some people just felt like it didn't do enough to be a Mistborn series. I kind of always looked at this, and maybe this is because I didn't like it that much the first time, and so I went in with lower expectations and actually enjoyed it a lot. But treating this as kind of like the side story with good characters, I think worked well for me. But The Lost Metal had really good closure to the character arcs, which there was a lot of character building, especially at the end of Bands of Mourning that was set up. So I got really good endings there. I got even more Cosmere stuff than I could have imagined, and so it worked. It worked really well for me, and I really enjoyed it. I do have a review for that one as well, which I'll also link if you want to check that out. So yeah, it was staying pretty positive overall. I was really enjoying the stuff that I was reading for the most part this month. And then we had Deathless Beast by Andrew D. Meredith. This is another one I very recently had a review come out from, and oh my gosh, did I absolutely love this book. This is just one of those books that just feels like it's almost made for me because it just meshed so well with my taste. And in the review, I talk a lot more about this because this is one that's a little harder to recommend because it's wonderful, but it is really very storytelling focused. It's about the story. I did enjoy the characters, and there's like a bigger plot being set up, but it's definitely not action packed. It's definitely just focused on telling the story and just feeling like you're just diving into this world. Andrew D. Meredith is just, of authors I've read in recent memory, one of the best at setting up worlds and just getting that storytelling and just sucking you into the story, and just really wonderful. And this one, so definitely check out the review on that one if you want to hear more as well. And then we had, continuing the great Wheel of Time reread, which we're getting close. We're getting close, people. It's only it ends in April at the end of next year. But book 9, Winter's Heart, and these I've been doing on audio the whole time too, which has been fun. Give me kind of a different experience because I've read it so many times and never on audio. Winter's Heart is. We're in the what's called the slog at this point. I do have a video breaking down kind of my viewpoint on the different sections and my interpretation of the quote-unquote slog. If you want to check that, I'll link as well. And I will be doing a video for Winter's Heart like I have for every single one of them. Not that many people watch them, but they're fun for me, and I know there's some people who have been following along watching also. That's been fun too. But Winter's Heart is definitely the book where we're going in. Most of the stuff here, most of the plots here, we had things that were set up in the last book, and we're just kind of slowly getting into these plots while doing a lot of expanding out of the world. This does have one of the really big moments of the series, which was a little less climactic. It wasn't really anticlimactic, but it was a little less climactic than I remembered it being. But we get to see, we start with one of my favorite characters in here. He gets a little more screen time, and so it's still a joy to be at. I'll be doing a video on that as well. We do have Crossroads of Twilight for December, which I'm not looking forward to because it's the only one that I'm just I usually have a lot of fatigue. I got one because it's the worst book. I'll admit it, but there's still some good things there, and the Knife of Dreams just knocks it right out of the park. So excited to get to Knife of Dreams at least, and the rest. And then we have. Speaking, I should have just done these out of order that I read them and done this because I'm going to transition from Deathless Beast to speaking of world building. And then I read Blood of the Spear by Mark Timoney. This is it's such a pretty book. This is one too. I should have shown the map for Deathless Beast. I always forget to show maps in videos anymore, but I love maps. So I still have to record a review for this too. So maybe I'll show it in there too. But really nice map. This is... very, the map screams classic fantasy, and it's setting up this really big world, and I definitely have a ton to talk about with this, because this was actually really not what I was expecting, but a really enjoyable book. It's very classic inspired, but it's more of a modern take on a lot of classic authors. You could see clear inspiration from Robert Jordan, from Janie Wirtz, from some other big-time authors who wrote in a much more classic style. But this is not as much written in that classic style, although it does a huge amount of world building and just is setting up this really rich world while doing it with a faster pace. So I'm excited to record a review and talk more about that one as well, because there's just a lot that's going to be going on in that one. I did also, on audio, I was listening to 12 Kings of Sharakai, which is the first book of the Song of the Shattered Sands by Bradley Boylo. I don't know how to say his last name. I have the book sitting over there. I also don't know why I got it. But I ended up doing audio because I was really behind. I didn't have time to fit it in. And so I was doing an audio, and it's been pretty bland so far. I'm not hating it, but I'm really not finding myself very interested, and so this is one that may end up being a DNF in early December. So I'll have to see. I don't know. I have the whole series. I have all 6 books, so I really wanted to give it a try, but I'm just, the further I get in, I still don't really find myself caring. So this one has not been working out that well for me. And it was one of the few things that didn't work out super well this month, especially toward the end of the month, because I was having a really good streak. And so maybe that's why it's just, in comparison, it wasn't doing it for me. I did end the month on a high note. Right at the end, I ended up reading Melody by David Hoffer. This is one of the SPSFC books. It's the quarterfinalists for the team that I am a judge on, and I absolutely love this one. I'm going to be doing a review for this as well as these books. There's going to be one every Friday. I'm calling it Sci Friday. I am absolutely sure someone has come up with that before me, so I'm not trying to steal it, but I'm going to use that because I did independently think of it too. Not like it's that much of a stretch to call it that, but we're doing Sci Friday, and I'm going to be doing reviews for those, so I'll have a review for Melody coming, but really, really good. Just really, really interesting setup. It's described as a first contact kind of techno thriller, and it did kind of have some of that feel. But the first contact parts are really interesting, and just everything going on with it. And it's basically humanity. Some people identify a signal that's coming from some alien world, and they're trying to decode it. And there is a man who, him and his family, are kind of pulled into the midst of it because they seem to have some sort of connection to that signal, and that's kind of the setup and going from there. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was something that was pretty different from a lot of stuff that I've read, but starting off the SPSFC quarterfinalists very strong. I can't wait to do more of those. So overall, those are all of the things that I read or listened to in November, and I'm pretty sure I didn't miss any, although it wouldn't be the first time that I did miss some. But that's everything for this month. And it was this one's a pretty decently shorter one, just because a lot of them I had talked about in previous videos. But I'm going to be, like I said, moving back to this monthly format for a while at least. I'll see if I make a change for the future. But the good news is that means more videos. Going to be a ton of more reviews coming, as well as some other stuff coming up soon as well. And it's with it getting toward year end, going to be a lot of year-end stuff coming up here soon as well. So look out for all of that. If you're interested, once again, check the link in the description for all of the things I talked about, and I'm linking down there, and you can see all of those other videos. Make sure to give the video a like. If you enjoyed it, check the link in the description also, as always, for the Wizardly Duo Discord. If you want to chat books, whether any of these books, other books, any books, really anything at all, it is a lot of fun, and we would love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.